Welcome back to Charging Ahead, an exciting e-mobility video series by the Enzi Ijayo Africa Initiative, showcasing the future of sustainable transport in Kenya. In this episode, we are joined by Esther Wanza from the Youth for Sustainable Mobility, a rising voice in Kenya's clean transport future.
Hi, my name is Esther Wanza. I'm part of the founding secretariat of the Youth for Sustainable Energy and Mobility. Youth for Sustainable Energy and Mobility, or YSEM, is a youth-led organization focused on supporting young people, mostly in the energy sector and e-mobility sector, to understand or to get opportunities, either in terms of jobs, in terms of entrepreneurship in the sector. We have 4 work streams, one being research and development, supporting development of technologies in this sector, 2 being capacity building. We've been able to execute a lot of trainings in the sector, either as YSEM or in collaboration with different partners who've really supported us to conduct several trainings in the sector. The other aspect, we do advocacy and awareness creation, and this is through either summits, events, or collaboration with the sector players to bring young people together to share their insights, to network, but also gather on what is happening in the sector. And the other work stream is entrepreneurship. We are keen on supporting young people to develop ideas, to grow their ideas in the e-mobility and energy sector, and maybe to highlight some of the things that we've been able to do in the last 1 year. We've been able to carry out trainings in partnership with different industry players, including Basigo, Rest for Africa Foundation, and many other experts who've come on board to support young people through training them or giving them skills to understand different technologies that are brought on board in the e-mobility sector. The other event is the Youth Summit, the inaugural Youth Summit at the Africa E-Mobility Week, which happened in 2024. And this was made possible through the support of different partners, including GIZ, Jacob's Ladder, the Student Energy, who awarded an award at the Student Energy Summit in 2023. And through this platform, we were able to gather over 100 young people to share their insight, to pledge their commitments, supporting the e-mobility sector, but also network with the industry experts. And the recent program being a mentorship program where we are matching young people in school and also the early stage careers with the industry experts and also with the entrepreneurs to be able to learn from them, either virtually or in person, visiting their businesses to see what is happening in the e-mobility and how they can be involved in the sector. That's a brief overview of what YSEM is focusing on.
From your perspective as youth players in the field, please provide us with an overview of the current e-mobility landscape in Kenya and the drivers for growth in this sector.
The e-mobility sector has really grown for the past recent years, one being the government set targets and pronouncements. The government of Kenya aims to achieve 5% of the registered vehicles being electric in the next years, and this has given the support to develop solutions, but also the incentives that the government has been able to extend to the companies, the tax incentives, and there's a committee that is working on the draft national e-mobility policy, which aims to introduce even more incentive, and this was launched by the CS the last year. Once this is in place, is looking to support more adoption and even support more women and youth to enter in the sector, develop solutions, and be able to increase investments in the sector. The other aspect has really supported the growth of this sector is the development of charging infrastructure, led by Kenya Power, our utility company. And one thing we must say, the company or the utility company has come out really to support the sector to do either setting specific tariffs for charging of e-vehicles or hosting events to create awareness about e-mobility, and also platforms where the companies can come together, share their views, share their challenges that are undergoing in the sector. And this has promoted the exchange of information through these conferences and being able to tackle some of these, especially the policy-related challenges. The other support is from EPRA, being able to develop the guidelines for setting up of charging infrastructure, which has guided many companies or led to development of many companies who are setting up, who are developing charging infrastructure across the country. But also the knowledge that has been shared to the end users, the behavior change communications for the end user to adopt electric, as they've realized the benefit that comes with e-mobility or e-vehicles as compared to using of the fossil fuel vehicles, that is the diesel or petrol vehicles. There are a lot of benefits in terms of cost and also operational cost, affordability, making either the electric motorcycle riders in-car savings from use of electric vehicles as compared to the other petrol diesel powered vehicles. So all these benefits and maybe the outrage or the support for the sector has really driven the growth of sector. But also we must thank the development partners who've come out really large to support the sector in terms of research and development, in terms of capacity building, in terms of financing, developing different financial model to support the sector. This has really supported the growth of the sector, and we are happy to see young people being the key leaders in terms of innovation, developing different solutions, either the technologies themselves or the digital platforms to enable adoption of electric vehicles.
What role are the young innovators and change makers playing in shaping the landscape?
If you look in the country, the most population, or 60% of the Kenyan population, are young people, and most of them are unemployed. With this sector coming on board, the e-mobility sector, it's an opportunity for young people, and I'm glad to see the way young people have really come out to either as innovators. And if you look at the many companies in Kenya, or the many companies in the e-mobility sector are youth-led. And this shows you the gist or the motivation by young people to develop solutions in this sector. Of course, there are many challenges they are facing in terms of the unpredictability of the sector, in terms of the technology change. Every day there is the evolution of technology. The inner move by young people to develop solutions every day to keep afloat with the developing technology is really encouraging. So there are so many young innovators in the two-wheelers, in the three-wheelers, in the four-wheelers that are developing solutions, every day in this sector. The other thing is, when we did the youth summit, Nagro at the Africa E-Mobility Week, we were not even sure that we'll have young people interested in the sector, but the support has been immense. There are so many young people, and we thank the development partners being able to support them to come or to attend the summit. And they were so curious to understand. One thing that stood out is we saw young people even from different professions, from the legal sector, from the energy sector, different professions, wanting to know what is e-mobility, what is happening in this sector, what can we do, how can government support us. So there is a lot of that gist or commitment or inner drive by young people to know what is happening in this sector and see how they can be involved. So they are creating awareness. Besides being innovators, they are also supporting awareness creation, training each other. I'm so encouraged by the different universities within Nairobi that have even come up with clubs. Multimedia University, Nairobi University, they have their own clubs or societies within the institution, and through the support of their lecturers, they're able to organize different clubs or conferences just to create awareness about e-mobility. And this is showing you the support or the drive by young people to create awareness, to advocate for more adoption or for electric mobility, not only within the institution but also to create awareness to the sector. Again, there are young people started training programs to either learn, train each other, learn from each other, peer-to-peer learning, so that they can support each other to understand what is in this sector, not only as a way of looking for employment, but also to be able to know how can I be a key leader in this sector. It's pretty a new sector, and everyone wants to know what is happening, how can I get involved, and I think young people have taken lead in that. So they play different roles in innovation, in awareness creation, in training each other to create opportunities, but also in research and development to know what other technologies can be in this sector to make things easier for the sector, to make things more efficient, technologies more efficient for the sector, and also to develop platforms that can increase awareness creation.
You've touched a bit on the Youth Summit. So can you highlight any standout youth-led initiatives or projects showcased at the YSEM Youth Summit last year in 2024?
In 2024, at the inaugural Youth Summit at the Africa E-Mobility Week, organized in partnership with the Africa E-Mobility Alliance, we had different panel sessions. The platform was aimed to, one, create awareness, but also a networking platform for young people in school, and also network with industry experts. And one of the key panel sessions focused on, one, capacity building, knowledge sharing on the technologies that are happening in the sector, but also in terms of what are entrepreneurs doing, what challenges are they facing. This was to help someone who would want to go the entrepreneurial way in terms of skills. What is the sector looking for in terms of skills? Even those that are in school can align themselves to look for training programs that can help them gather some of these skills. We had different industry experts we had invited at the summit, including the human resource from different companies, the technical people, the finance people, to share their insights with the young people. What is the sector looking for? But one of the key areas that we had breakout sessions in the afternoon, where we had workshop, one on capacity building, another one on knowledge sharing about the industry, but also another one on financing, investment in the sector. And the aim of these workshops were to have discussions in groups to understand what are the different stakeholders doing in the sector and how can young people. We also had a wall where young people pledged their commitment to support the sector. And one of the key outcomes of the summit was a need for mentorship, linkage between young people and industry experts to continue learning from each other. And that's why we launched our mentorship program in January 2025. The inaugural one, they just ended in April of 2025, where we had 22 young people being onboarded to the mentorship program and 11 mentors who really supported them throughout the 4 months, virtually and also in person. Some of the mentors were good enough, or mentors invited young people to their premises to learn about what they are doing, and also to see how they can also develop solutions or integrate their skills with what is happening in the sector.
What are the recurring challenges faced by youth in e-mobility, and where do you see these barriers being addressed, and by whom?
Like any other sector, the e-mobility sector has faced a lot of challenges, being a new sector with a lot of uncertainties, changes every day in technology and also in government policies. I think it's one of the sectors everyone is wondering what next, and they are not sure whatever they are doing is going to change or it's going to remain the same in the long run. And I can say among young people, as I mentioned, young people are the main innovators. They are the one leading the companies that are developing or deploying these solutions. So, of course, the normal challenges of a business, of running a business in terms of financing, access to finance, especially in these years, there's been a lot of decrease in terms of development finance. And this is affecting e-mobility because most of the companies are in the pilot phases, and piloting different new technologies requires a lot of capital, which is not available or be assessed by young people. So this is something that is really affected a lot of companies, not only in Kenya, but across Africa, and not only in the e-mobility space, but across the energy sector, and which requires urgent support. I don't know which models we are going to work on. Maybe we may need to think of innovative models to see how to can deploy e-mobility. And one I can think of is carbon finance. This is a new financing mechanism that is supporting many other technologies. So how can we develop such or carbon financing for the e-mobility sector to support deployment of electric vehicles across the country? The main actors in this is everyone. I wouldn't single it out to entrepreneurs or the government. It's a collaborative effort across board to see how we can support or come up with more innovative financing to support the struggling startups in the e-mobility sector. The other thing is, if you look at our curriculum today in Kenya, and especially in the institutions of higher learning, still the old curriculum, and things have changed. There is e-mobility today, tomorrow there is a new technology coming up, and our universities, and sorry to say, are still offering the long or traditional curriculums which are out of date. So there is need for curriculum development, integrating that curriculum with the current curriculum in the universities to support the young ones that are in institutions to understand e-mobility as early as possible while at school. That way they are able to understand or develop skills that fit the market. There is a lot of gap in terms of the young people coming out of school and what is happening in the sector. And this requires a lot of our addressing at the institutional level so that they're able to gain these skills that they can apply directly in the sector. The other challenge that is being faced, the skills gap, is almost related to unemployment in the sector. If you look at the boda sector, it employs a lot of young people, almost over 2 million bodas registered in Kenya. And these mostly look at young people. One, they lack the skills. If we are to transition these bodas now to electric vehicles, there is need for awareness creation, advocacy, behavior change, communication to these young people, which again requires a lot of support from the government, but also from the development partners to see how we can support these people to understand the electric vehicles, understand the benefits and also the long-term benefits and also the short-term benefits. The other key challenge is in terms of government support, especially for the young-led initiatives in the sector that are trying to support more young people to understand policies that are being developed in the sector. We could look at policies that favor young people in terms of entrepreneurship, skills, and even see how we can have more government-led or development partner-led training targeted to young people to understand the sector and what opportunities lies in the sector.
How can the network of young leaders and participants from the YSEM Youth Summit continue to collaborate after the event? And are there any follow-up activities, projects, initiatives that could support the long-term growth of youth-led e-mobility solutions?
In terms of the follow-up activities, the e-mobility sector has seen a lot of growth, not only through YSEM but also other organizations. There are a lot of platforms or conferences being created, especially by Kenya Power, GIZ, and other stakeholders in the sector, just to bring young people to learn and network with the industry experts and to learn about the changing environments for the sector. One being the recently held an annual e-mobility conference held by Kenya Power. I think it just concluded this month, and that presented another opportunity for young people to learn. Every day there are new opportunities in terms of conferences, in terms of challenges for young entrepreneurs or innovators in the sector. And also the E-Mobility Association of Kenya has been doing a lot of market or engagements to just create awareness. The other key activity we've been able to organize internally is the mentorship. I think I talked about it, and we are looking to host more of these mentorship programs just to help young people link with the industry experts to understand what is happening in the sector, to learn about the sector, the technologies themselves, but also organize industrial visits for young people to visit different companies to know what they are doing, what technologies they are, and how the technologies work. The other key thing that is being organized this year is the Youth Summit. We have in the second Youth Summit happening this year, though in Addis Ababa. It's been organized in partnership with Africa E-Mobility Alliance. The Africa E-Mobility Week, it's in September from 16th in Addis Ababa. And the Africa E-Mobility Alliance has also called out for innovators to apply for challenge where they'll get to meet investors. So this also presents another opportunity for young people to apply for the challenge and get to meet different investors who can fund either their ideas or the innovations or their businesses. So there are so many opportunities in the sector. There is a lot happening in the sector. The only thing is being on the lookout. The other activity is Advanced Immobility Center is organizing different trainings. Be on the lookout, check out their LinkedIn or the social media platforms. They always organize periodic trainings for young people to go and learn about different technologies in the sector.
What kind of support does YSEM require to continue to expand and scale its activities in 2025 and beyond?
YSEM has really been able to prove that in the past 1 year through our operations, we'll be able to check different activities, and we've seen the need for these activities for young people. When we call out for application for either a training or a summit, we receive a lot of applications. I can give you an example. In the Youth Summit last year, we got over 600 applications, and due to limitation in terms of capacity, we were only able to accommodate 100. And this shows you the interest by young people to be involved in some of these activities. This requires support either from development partners, collaborative support to one, create those platforms for young people, but also be able to host more trainings, organize more industrial tours for young people to interact with the technologies directly. But one key area is entrepreneurship is a game changer, and we can't avoid entrepreneurship. So we are looking at running challenges or holding incubation programs for young people to be able to turn their ideas into solutions and scale them. We are in the lookout for partners out there that are doing some of this work to see how we can partner to develop such programs across capacity building, youth entrepreneurship in e-mobility, but also be able to drive policy inclusion of young people in the policy making, inclusion of youth voices in the drafting of different policies across board in the e-mobility sector. This requires collaborative effort. We cannot do that alone as YSEM. We require development or different stakeholders to come on board to work with us, either as financiers or partners in implementation, to be able to drive the inclusion of young people in the e-mobility sector. The last one is from the government. We've seen government driving a lot the conversation on e-mobility, but we've not seen a lot of involvement of young people in key platforms, in key forums, in key committees, I can say. So this would be a call to action for government or different stakeholders to engage, seek the views of young people. And we could have more youth summits. I know we have different conferences, and this could also include a youth summit, just to see what are young people saying, what do we need different, on what ideas do they have in terms of driving the sector.
Esther showed us how young people are not just joining the movement, they're leading it. Through innovation, advocacy, and action, the youth are ensuring e-mobility is inclusive, sustainable, and future-ready. And with that, our journey through Kenya's e-mobility landscape comes to a close for now. Please subscribe to our channel, and let's keep charging ahead.